call to order. We've got regular meeting for Monday, October 19th, 2015, 7 p.m. Calling it to order. Roll call, please.
Feltus.
Yes.
Fetch.
Yes.
Colstead.
Yes.
Conrad.
Present.
Sensala.
Yep.
Wojni.
Yes.
We've got a verification of the posting of the agenda, Bill.
Yes, the agenda was posted by last Friday, 4:39 p.m. at City Hall, Arcadia State Bank, and Arcadia TV and Appliance, and the city website.
Thank you. You're rolling?
Yes.
Okay. We've got public comments. Hear your public comments. Opportunity.
The Pledge of Allegiance.
Hey, why don't we do that? Dr. Fetch, would you lead us in our pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I missed that, I apologize. Period of public comments. Thank you, Bill. Public comments. All right, we are going to move on. Authorization for the mayor to sign a certificate of substantial completion for the Fairfield Avenue project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Wojni, seconded by Dr. Fench. Any comments or questions on that? Hearing none, we'll take a vote, please.
Fetch.
Yes.
Colstead.
Yes.
Conrad.
Yeah.
Sensala.
Yeah.
Wojni.
Yes.
Feltus.
Yes.
Guys, I'm gonna move something around just for a quick second. Nancy, if you could identify yourself to everybody that knows you here and talk about your new adventure, please.
I can just stand.
Why
Sorry, I've never been to a city council.
don't you come up front, and that way it's just a matter of our public record, please.
Do I need to sign in anywhere or anything?
There is a sign-in sheet going around.
Thank you.
So it could be on the TV or video, right?
I can do that after. My name is Nancy Bain, and actually I'm a few minutes late for this meeting because we were taking their pictures. But I am here representing the school district of Arcadia. We have a new after-school program that I am the coordinator for, and I just wanted to come and share it with the city council. I wanted you to know about something great going on in our community. It's we're servicing kids grades 1 through 8, and it is a federal grant that we are using to do this. And we have 82 kids currently in our program. Our goal is to be about 100. They'll work with us from 3:30 to 5:30, where they're getting enrichment in both math and reading services in a fun environment. It doesn't look like school, but yet it's an opportunity to learn. And I guess it was just important to me that you all knew this great thing was happening in our community, so when you see some funky things going on in town and kids climbing trees and whatever, that might be my kids, and just look for me and give us a thumbs up. This program this is the 4th year it's been in existence, and it had a bit of an identity crisis. People didn't know it even existed. And I took it over 4 weeks ago today. I accepted the position, and in the meantime we've created a program. We've had an audit through DPI, which happened today. And we are on our way to good things and servicing little people in our community. Part of a component of the program is also that we'll be offering services to families. We have our first family meeting tomorrow. We'll be identifying some of the needs of the families that students are served in our community. We're hoping for some partnerships within the community. Right now we're reaching out with Ashley and Golden Plum to offer some English classes. We'll also be working on some parenting classes and some community resource events going on. So I just wanted you to know that we exist, if you didn't know, and we're growing, and it's a pretty cool thing that Arcadia should be proud of. We'll be doing some promotional things as well. But I just wanted you to know.
Is the DPI accepted to other places that are doing the same program?
These are called 21st Century grants, and Arcadia applied for their grant 4 years ago. We are one of about 100 schools who have this grant right now. We're in our 4th year of a 5-year cycle. We can apply for 2 more cycles of 5 years, and the funding goes down each year. So we eventually need to be self-sustainable. So that's where I'm coming in right now, with a business background, saying how can we connect with other people in our community to be able to offer a safe place for kids after school where they're getting enrichment and they're getting some services.
Does it help that you are in once, that you get to get accepted for the years after that again?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's a plus.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
And today was a good thing, because they came and saw us, and we only had one child who got a chair stuck on his head, so overall it was a good day. Thank you very much, young man. Yeah, we didn't have anyone run away today. Overall, it was successful, no bleeding, so.
Good.
And we got the chair out.
So you're gonna have fundraisers and all this sort of thing to help fund your program, or is this, you say the grants are kind of diminishing as the year goes down?
They are. This year, again, we have $100,000, that's our budget. We have a staff of about 20 people, rotating in. We also have community volunteers. Fundraising will probably be part of it, but I'm more interested in developing some lifelong community relationships that we can have going versus one-hit wonders of cookie sales or whatever. I want to be able to have these kids connected in our community, these families connected in our community. So I'm hoping through some of the places where those folks work, and different resources we have within Arcadia and Trumpeldor County that will be self-sustainable in 5 years.
When does the funding start to decrease?
I asked that question today. In our 6th year, it goes down a little bit, and then it's incremental. And I can't even tell you the exact numbers, how that goes. So, just a good thing happening in Arcadia, and I thought you guys should know.
Is that done right up at the school?
We are, yep. So we're part of the philosophy of schoolhouse lights staying on, using our community buildings where there's no charge, a safe place. Absolutely.
Yes, you got some high schoolers helping you out, you got Oscar and Emily and.
Yep, I have 6 high schoolers on staff every night, and they are always there. My teachers once in a while have events going on and we do lots of juggling, but my high school students are amazing and very reliable. We do have 3 students in our program who speak no English, and when we've asked those students what they're interested in working on, they want to learn English. So it's pretty neat to have some students who speak Spanish who are really working with those kids in small groups to develop those English skills. We hope to have that carry over then to the families as well.
And the program goes through what time of the year?
We will go until the 1st of June. And we run Monday through Thursday. So, and I invite anyone to come and check us out. Just let me know through the school. And we welcome visitors and guest speakers. And we want the kids to realize that this is not just a school, this is not just a city, this is their school and their city. So getting them founded into our community.
Well, over the next several months between now and the end of the program, I invite you to update us every once in a while whenever you want to get back on the agenda from now till the end of the program.
Sounds great.
Well, thank you for
Thank you
everything you
for
done.
your time.
Thank you. Okay, you guys are up. If you'd like to introduce yourself and kind of what's going on is these guys are from Strain and Associates, and part of the agreement that they had with the work that they were contracted and approved by the council for was to provide updates on where they're at in the process. And these guys asked to be up here. When did you send an email up a week ago, 2 weeks ago, asking to be on the agenda for
Yes, yes.
So we'll turn it over to you guys. If you could introduce yourself and whoever's gonna take the lead here. Scott,
That'll be me. I guess I apologize. I was thinking we were gonna be putting something on on a projector or something, but I have extra copies. I don't know if you want me to give any out to the public here, or if anybody needs any.
Our newspaper's asking for one.
Sure. And what I got here is just informational purposes. We're early on in the process, so what we're trying to do is kind of explain what we're doing and why we're doing and why we're hired and stuff like that. And give everybody a, if anybody else wants any? Sure.
Together.
Share, that'd be great. Okay. So, my name is Scott Herker, I'm with Strand Associates. I am been with Strand Associates for 25 years now. I do a lot of project management. I'm a structural engineer by trade, but have done a lot of project management on these type of municipal building facilities throughout my years at Strand. All different types of facilities, police departments, city halls, fire departments, libraries. So I also have John Savage here with me. He's our financial specialist. So I'm gonna let him talk a little later. I'm gonna talk first, and then I'll bring him on board to kind of talk a little bit more about the funding and financial end of things. So just to kind of give a background of where we're coming from, we've been talking with the city, it's probably been several years now, knowing that this project was kind of out there with some wishes to upgrade the facilities. There's obviously some needs there, and we'll go into that a little bit more later. But so we've been talking several years and meeting with staff every now and then finally things, I think back in June is when we put together, it was either June or May, we put together a proposal to provide services to kind of preliminary, what we call preliminary design services, to get the process moving and start the process of what potentially this project could be. And again, like I said, we're early on in the process. I'll step through the first document. There is kind of a timeline and task schedule. Again, what I want to do is stress the process here, what we're trying to do. And what I also want to stress is this is a process that 95% of other municipalities go through the same process anytime they take on a project, whether it's a building project, a street project. A project this magnitude, need to spend some time up front to decide what is our desires, what are our needs, what are our budgets, what are all the driving factors that go into the project. What does the community want? What does staff needs? So all that needs to be considered, and so the process that we're going through now is typical. I mean, I've been through it a million times before with communities. It takes different avenues when you get into different communities and stuff like that, but the general process is what we've done on multiple projects, a lot of projects. So as I said, I was approved back in council for us to begin on that. And really the reason was that I know came to us that they were struggling to get the project moving forward. There's been space needs done and other studies done over the last couple years, and it just never seemed to lead anywhere. So the thought was that we need something defined, a defined process to get the ball rolling, and at least decide, what's in, what's out type thing. So that's where we came into play. We provided a proposal for that. So I guess what I want to do now is kind of walk through the process that we're proposing here. And what I got on that first sheet covers kind of the entire project. If you proceed all the way through construction on a project, and what that is yet to be determined. Like I said, nothing's been decided here yet. We're in the initial phases of it. But I want to kind of walk through the process and show, on this task schedule, where the city public staff input is going to be. The items with asterisks are all items that are going to have city public staff input on various levels. So again, it's going to be a work in progress, and we need staff, we need public input, we need the city to give us their input, or us to do the right thing for the city and the community. So what we've done so far is we've had a kickoff meeting, mostly to kind of, again, set the parameters, what we're trying to do, what we're working towards, try to set up a general schedule. We've gone back and, like I said, there was a space needs done previously, and we've gone back and just revisited it, because it was a year or two ago. And there was also some of the, like the fire department and EMS hadn't been done as part of that. So we went back and revisited that, kind of sat down with city staff, walked through that process of what are your needs, kind of confirmed what there was. And there's a few additional things that came up, a few changes here and there, nothing drastic, but kind of reconfirmed the space needs. So we're kind of done. That's a draft form. I'll get to it later, but it is in your packet there as a draft form. And again, we haven't gone back, and we're waiting for city staff to kind of confirm that what we put in there makes sense. So again, as a part of that, we met with the fire department, EMS, city staff. We met with police department, library. So all those people were engaged to provide input. Some of the stuff else that we've been looking at some sites. We've obviously looked at the old Mayo Clinic site, which obviously since then is kind of no longer a valid site, but we did some site visits, evaluated that to a certain degree. There was also a greenfield site that Mayo had that we also looked at, but since then has gone. So again, we've kind of been looking at these things and trying to find a good place that potentially could house the new facility if there's one that's built. And so that's kind of what stage we're at right now. We're still looking for that site, and there's other sites out there that are still potentials, but that needs to be vetted out yet. I guess the next item on there I want to point out, and I think we need to get this done shortly if we're going to move forward with the project, is to create a project building committee. That's something I think is, and maybe I think it'll help everybody feel better about what's going on, because then we got all the different entities involved. The intent is to get a building committee that consists of every member that's involved, whether it's police department, fire department, city staff, library, and then get members of the council, right, one or two, if they're willing to be on, and then maybe even some of the public, if that's felt needed, to again, so everybody's informed on what we're doing, why we're making decisions. To me, we've done that in the past. That's the best way. Those people can go back and tell their associated people what's going on and keep them up to date. So I think to me that's a really important thing, that we get transparency. Everybody knows what's going on and why we're doing what we're doing. So like I said, all along here, there's going to be input from staff, public, city officials. So that there, we're going to move into, once we find a new site, then it's developing some concept plans. And where we're headed basically is we're trying to get something out there to start the process with, saying, all right, this is our first go at it. There's a fundraising component to this. The city's engaged Crescendo at this point, if they move forward to that, to do some help look into fundraising, finding money out there in the community. And in order to do that, they need something to go out with and say, hey, the city's thinking about doing a project like this. What is the potential for getting funds? From a financing standpoint, for fundraising, I should say. So that's kind of the first step, is to get to that point. At that point, we're just kind of feeling out, all right, here's a potential project, here's about the size of it. We're not locked into anything yet. So that's the first kind of step where we're headed for here. So after they do that, so there'll be a period of time after we get that out, that they go out to the public and find the interest out there, and then come back and kind of report. And from there, then we kind of fine tune that. All right, is this the project that we want? Kind of looking at that point. All along here, we're going to be looking at project funding, and again, I'll let John talk a little bit more about that. But project financing for the project is going to be something we're going to do throughout. That'll be something we'll look at that stage. Also at that stage, I'd like to get some more public involvement. Get the project out there, let people see it, see what's involved with it, see where the budget is, see if that all makes sense. Again, we'll put together a project funding piece that will summarize that, where the monies potentially could come from. And then from that standpoint, that's kind of the first preliminary design level. Here's the concept. All right, we decide that things need to be changed, or or if it's not quite what the community needs or wants, we can change from there. But then it's, the next step would be kind of move into further design and construction. The project funding, again, I have there, we would be going through all that. We've already done some initial reviews and stuff that John has done. The next step there is to get a financial advisor on board. And I'll let John talk a little bit more about what that means. And then ultimately we got to decide financing methods and what our amounts and what the goals are there. As you move, then also there'll be potentially, again, if we move forward with the project fundraising standpoint, once they've done the initial, we decide to move forward with the project, then there would be a period of actual fundraising, going out, getting dollars allocated towards the project. And again, how long that takes, I'm not sure. It can take a year, it could take longer. So there's a process there that goes into the fundraising part of it. And when you decide to go forward with the project is up to you guys based off of when fundraising starts or stops or whatnot. So again, there's some decisions to make there. Then we get into the design and construction phases. Again, we just kind of taking the designs a little further. There's a schematic design. Again, there'd be input on that. That would be, again, we do a little more detailed drawings, maybe do some renderings, to kind of, again, and then do some more public involvement type stuff, where we get the public in, have a little bit more to show, a little bit more information to put out there. Again, at that point, we can still modify things and change things as needed. And after that, you get the approval to proceed ahead, and we're talking design development documents, which is kind of 50% construction documents. Again, there's a review process of all the documents in the budget at that time. Then you go to what's called construction documents, which is basically, here we're taking it out for bids. This is the project that we're going to put out there for bids and get costs back from contractors on. And then as you see, there's also review processes involved in that, local and state. There's bidding of the project, and then there's finally funding, doing the final funding for the project and getting the funding sources, finalizing those, and then award of the project and construction. So as you can see, I didn't put an exact timeline. I just tried to put the big items, what kind of time frame we're talking as far as how long it takes to do those. If you add this all up, you're a year and a half, 2 years out potentially. Again, that would be shortchanged if we need to, but again, it all depends on the community's needs and where they want to head with it. So with that, I guess I'll hit a few things and then let John talk here. In the packet, I guess the space needs is in there. Again, this is just for general information. This isn't finalized, so don't take this around with a here's what we're building kind of thing. This is initial. We go out, we talk to them. What are your needs for each department? And this first sheet is kind of the overall summary. The second, or the next 5 sheets, kind of get into specifics of what the needs are for each entity. I guess basically, the area total, the 5th column over kind of summarizes the total amount of square footage. And then if there is something available that we had information on, the current area is the one next to it. So kind of shows what you have now versus what the space needs show that you need, the desires. So again, you kind of look through that. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about details of it. I just want to kind of point out some of the issues. Again, like I said, it's not finalized yet. But some of the areas, like in the fire department, EMS, we didn't have existing information. We were more engaged just to go back and check what the needs are, not necessarily what the spaces are. But in going through this process and looking at some of the facilities, there's obviously some needs here. Both space needs. There's the buildings that are outdated, inefficient, energy issues, and then there's just inefficiencies of operations, multiple buildings. Obviously, we're meeting over here. Again, just the difference between having everything in one building, or at least being able to function out of a common building. There's some inefficiencies there. Like I said, in the energy conservation area of things, older buildings, not as energy efficient. And then just the function spaces themselves are limited as far as there's not a lot of room to add on to the facilities. So So, like I said, what we're trying to do here is kind of try to answer any questions, and I'll leave that up at the end here. We'll obviously let you guys answer any questions. We're trying to engage the public here as much as we can. Community, this is a community project. This could be if it moves forward, it could be a centerpiece project for the community. And it's not just a city staff project. It's not just, you know, the city itself. It's the community that's going to use this facility. And there's all different types: the library, the community center, the fire department, police department. They're all services. And you know, obviously, there's been a while before, probably since there's been a whole lot of thing done to the facilities, other than small upgrades and stuff like that. And so those types of projects are unique. They're not, communities like yourself don't undertake those every day. They don't undertake them every 5, 10 years. It's more 20 years down the road. So it's not something that normal city staff is used to dealing with. And that's why we were brought on to help that process and move it through. So at this point, I guess I'll turn it over to John to talk a little bit more about the funding end of it, and then we'll entertain any questions.
I think this gentleman, Jose.
I was just wondering, what do we owe you at this point in time? And if it's 2 years down the road before we actually do something, are we on retainer? Are we paying you so much a month? What's the?
So where we're at right now, we work on an hourly and expense. So whatever tasks you give us, that's what we do, and then we bill for those based on time spent.
So, but where are we right now?
Right now, I think we're at about 23,000, I think, is what we've spent based on what we've done so far. So.
In further answer to that question,